Michael, Josina Anderson said the Cowboys are going to do their due diligence on Cam, maybe bring him in as a backup. I'm going to assume that doesn't happen. Where do you think is a good landing spot for Cam Newton? Because, I mean, as a general manager, are you bringing, let's just say you're Denver, you're Houston, you don't have a real set starting quarterback. We're kind of late in the game to bring in a starter, right? Like, where do you see him going?
I really thought Gardner Minshew would have been a great addition to Dallas. I thought he'd be perfect. He's I know he's undersized. He doesn't have a great arm, but I think he's got a democracy. I mean, Gardner Minshew to me was like a middle reliever. He could get you 6 or 7 games, maybe 10, and play well enough in those games. But obviously the Cowboys personnel staff didn't feel that way. Cam, to me, with Cam, I think would be best suited for a team that's like running with the quarterback. I mean, like Baltimore. I know Trace McSorley's out right now with an injury, but he'd be ideal to play behind Lamar Jackson, kind of fits in what they want to do, a little bit more run than pass. I think that's the biggest problem with Cam is not work habits. It's not reliability. It's his shoulder injury that he suffered 3 years ago that hasn't really allowed him to drive the ball like he once did.
Former NFL GM Michael Lombardi on the Romeo's Pizza hotline. Get game-winning pizza delivery and takeout at romeospizza.com. What have you seen from the Cowboys on Hard Knocks?
I haven't watched it. I really haven't watched it. I've been too busy watching other tapes. And, I really don't I haven't really paid much attention to it. I just listened to a couple of people who are friends of mine said it's kind of boring. So I felt like, okay, I'm not going to watch it. If it's boring or if it's the Jerry Jones hour, I love Jerry, but I wasn't going to watch it.
How are you feeling about the Cowboys before this season starts? Obviously, we got the big one in Tampa against Tom. How are you feeling about the Cowboys in the East right now?
Well, I really think a lot of it comes down to defensively, and so, look, they keep 7 rookies on their defense based on the roster right now. And so, now maybe that'll change a little bit. But so for Dan Quinn to be successful in this scheme, it all comes down to the play of the defensive front. It's not a complicated scheme. It's never going to fool any quarterback in the league. The middle of the field is going to be closed. Rarely does it ever open. It's rarely do they run zero blitz. It's going to be 90% zone, and it's got to be won by Randy Gregory. It's got to be won by DeMarcus Lawrence if he's going to be healthy, which right now he's on PUP. It's got to be ready by, Gallimore. Those guys have to win up front. And the middle linebacker, who I think looks like he could be a really good player, the Sam linebacker at Parsons is going to make a ton of tackles. But the question's really going to come down to, is the front going to be good enough to pressure the quarterback? And if that's the case, then they have a better chance. I'm not sure that is the case. I think they're a little bit light in the defensive front, particularly to run this kind of scheme. This scheme, when Joey Bosa plays for San Francisco, for the Chargers, or Nick Bosa plays for San Francisco, it's a completely different scheme than when they don't. Think about the Niners. When they had DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead, and they had, Bosa, and they had all these rushers coming off the corner, way different. Last year they didn't have that. You could throw the ball on them.
Michael, are you at all concerned about how Dak's injury happened this preseason, the arm, or still lingering from the ankle?
I would be concerned about contact. I would be concerned about Dak landing on his shoulder and hurting his arm more. That's what I would be concerned. Obviously they've cleared him medically to go out there, and I've just seen clips of him throwing, in the little bit that we're able to see. So it looks to me like he's got his arm is back. I thought he had velocity on the football, but what always worries you about injuries is the next hit. When he gets hit again, he lands on that shoulder. How does it react?